Welcome to 100 Life Lessons, a daily vlog journaling the path of an average middle-aged male trying to complete a 100-mile race. The tagline is, get out there and see the world. Each episode or each week we have a quote that I contemplate and reflect on, along with a weekly goal. It's coming right up. Good morning, out in the woods even with sore ribs. Today I am doing what I call powering through. I'm able to walk some, run a little bit. It doesn't hurt that bad, but you know that a lot of times in life that's just what happens. I'm going to try to go for an hour run. Hour 10 minutes is that things come up and you just have to learn to work through the problems and persevere and get to the other side and then learn something from the problems. Okay, today I had my first mess up with filming. I had finished my run, went to film, got home and realized that it didn't record. But anyway, I'm back home. The run this morning was interesting. First, I was powering through my hurt ribs. They're getting better. I was walking, running, listening to a podcast. Life was good. Right in the middle of the run, my daughter calls and says she's having car problems. She can't get a ride to work. My wife called and she was a little upset because my daughter couldn't get to work and my son is camping, and so we hadn't heard from him. So anyway, and then I took a new trail. I'd never been on the trail before, and I was supposed to meet my son back in the parking lot in an hour, and 45 minutes into it I realized that I have a long way to go and I'm going to be late, so I got stressed from that. But you know what, that is just life, and I had to learn to fight through it. I had one of those runs where, if you've ever been in an ultra, where you're looking for that rest stop and it doesn't seem to ever come, or in a race and you're looking for the mile marker. It just seemed like forever. I didn't know where I was, and but eventually what happened was my son called me. I got him to run backwards. He met me on the trail. I got a text from my son, and it all worked out great. It was ironic. A story on the podcast was about a guy who had, I was listening to Entrepreneurs on Fire, and the guest there, his name was Noah, was talking about how he had the most important phone call. He was raising money. He had his dream venture capitalist on the phone. He was on vacation, but the guy had to talk to him, so he thought he had it all worked out. He got to the house where he was going to get on Skype. The house was locked. He couldn't get in. He had 30 minutes to find a new location. He had to scramble. He found a new location. He got there. Skype wouldn't work. He was stressed. Most important venture capitalist phone call. He couldn't get into the house. He kept fighting and fighting, but eventually it worked out fine. He got his money, and so that's just life. Once all the stress is over, at least in my life, it really helps if I go back and I think, okay, what got me in that position in the first place? What could I do differently so that I'm not just stressed and putting out fires all the time? Anyway, finally, the quote, a quick comment on the quote, which says, promote what you love instead of bashing what you hate. As a school teacher, this really comes to mind because it's very easy to focus on the students that are behavior issues or who are not doing what you want, and you miss the great kids that do exactly what you want and behave. So I need to get into the habit in my life of promoting the great kids and just not saying anything about the students who are not rising up to expectations. Okay, it is Freaky Friday, where we honor the freaks that overcome age, hardship, disease, and do something amazing. Coming in at number 5, Harriet Thompson, who completed the San Diego Marathon at the age of 92. She completed it in 7 hours. Coming in at number 4, we have Michael Melamed, who finished the 2015 Boston Marathon in spite of having muscular dystrophy. Coming in at number 3 is Greg LeMond, Greg LeMond won the 1989 Tour de France in dramatic fashion. This was after 2 years earlier getting shot and very close to being close to death. By the way, he is the only American to win the Tour de France. Coming in at number 2 is legendary Arthur Webb, who finished, some people say, arguably the toughest ultramarathon, the Badwater, which is a 135-mile race across the Death Valley at the age of 69. And number 1 is Lew Hollander, who was the oldest Hawaii Ironman finisher at the age of 1, and he also completed an Ironman distant race at the age of 85. Anyway, there are our freaks who overcome age, hardship, disease, gunshots, and motivate us to do